What if a 13-year-old girl could outsmart a billionaire in his own boardroom? Picture this. A young girl, underestimated, overlooked, about to turn the tables in a way no one saw coming. Stay tuned to Whispered Tales, because this story will leave you speechless. Imagine the shock when she speaks his game in languages he can't even dream of. Richard Sterling's voice boomed across the Pinnacle Global boardroom as he slammed the Japanese contract down. The billionaire's face twisted with disgust as he glared at 13-year-old Zara Williams. "What's the matter, little girl? Too stupid to understand grown-up work." His $10,000 suit couldn't hide the ugliness beneath. Or maybe your kind just isn't built for thinking. Can you guess what happens when you underestimate someone like Zara? Hold on tight, Whisper Tales listeners, because this is where it gets wild. Zara looked up from her homework, Japanese textbooks scattered around her corner chair. Her mother's cleaning uniform hung nearby, a daily reminder of their place in Sterling's world. I said, "Translate it." Sterling's fist hit the mahogany table. Ice cubes rattled in crystal glasses. "Show these executives what passes for education in the projects." Keep listening to Whispered Tales because this story will blow your mind. The conference room fell silent. Several executives shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to intervene or look away. Sterling smirked, certain he'd put the child in her place. He had no idea his world was about to shatter. Zara Williams didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She simply reached down and picked up the scattered contract pages. Her dark eyes moved across the Japanese characters with unmistakable recognition. Not the hesitant scanning of someone pretending to understand, but the fluid movement of true comprehension. Sterling's smirk began to fade as Zara's lips moved silently, reading. The room's tension shifted from uncomfortable silence to electric anticipation. "Kaniakaniwa Jona Mondega Aramesu," Zara said softly, her pronunciation flawless. Dr. Catherine Morrison, Pinnacle's chief global operations officer, nearly dropped her coffee cup. She spoke 4 languages herself and recognized perfect Japanese when she heard it. Sterling's face reddened. "What did you just say?" Zara looked up, her voice steady and clear. "I said, this contract has serious problems. 3 major translation errors that would cost your company approximately $12 million. The boardroom erupted in whispers. Phones came out as executives started recording. "That's impossible," Sterling sputtered. "You're just, The liability clause in Section 4, Zara continued, pointing to specific Japanese characters, has been mistranslated. In Japanese, it says, your company accepts full responsibility for shipping delays, but the English version says the opposite." Dr. Morrison leaned forward, studying the contract. Her Japanese wasn't fluent, but she could see the character Zara was indicating. "The payment terms are wrong, too," Zara added. "And the termination clause gives them rights to sue for damages that don't exist in your English version." Sterling's mouth opened and closed like a fish, gasping for air. The contract he'd been about to sign would have been a financial disaster. Lucky guess, he finally managed, his voice cracking. But the damage was done. Every person in that room had just watched a 13-year-old girl save a multi-million-dollar deal while being humiliated. Dr. Morrison's eyes narrowed as she studied both Zara and Sterling. Where did this child learn business-level Japanese? And what else was hidden beneath the surface of someone everyone had ignored? The real question wasn't how Zara knew Japanese. It was how many other talents were walking invisible through their halls. Sterling's ego couldn't handle the blow. His face flushed crimson as he pulled out his gold iPhone. "Fine. Let's see how you handle real conversation." His fingers jabbed at the screen. "Video call with my Tokyo office right now." The boardroom's 80-inch monitor flickered to life. 3 Japanese executives appeared, bowing politely from their sleek Tokyo conference room. "Tanaka-san," Sterling began in broken, embarrassing Japanese. "Watashi, check translation. Girl here." Tanaka-san's face showed polite confusion. He responded in rapid Japanese, clearly not understanding Sterling's butchered attempt. "I don't know what he's saying," Sterling admitted, sweating now. "But show them you can." "Hajime, Tanaka-san." Zara's voice cut through Sterling's stammering like silk. Watakushi wa Zara Williams, tamashamasu. Kono tabidem shivake gozaimasen. The Tokyo executive's eyes widened. Perfect Kigo. The formal Japanese used in high-level business. Even native speakers struggled with such politeness levels. Tanaka-san smiled broadly and responded enthusiastically. Zara nodded, understanding every nuance. He says they've been trying to contact your office about the contract problems for 2 weeks. Zara translated to the stunned room. But the translation service kept missing the cultural context. Dr. Morrison leaned forward, fascinated. What cultural context? Zara switched effortlessly back to Japanese, asking detailed questions. The Tokyo team grew animated, clearly relieved to finally communicate properly. In Japanese business culture, Zara explained while maintaining eye contact with both screens. The way they phrase certain sections implies long-term partnership commitment. But your English version reads like a short-term vendor agreement. They feel insulted. Sterling's phone buzzed. Then again, other executives are getting calls. The German clients are calling, someone whispered urgently. Without being asked, Zara answered in flawless German. Guten Tag, hier ist Zara Williams von Pinnacle Global. Wie kann ich helfen? The German voice sounded relieved, launching into rapid technical discussion. Zara took notes, switching between German and English explanations for the room. They're confused about the machinery specifications, she interpreted. The technical manual was translated incorrectly. They've been installing parts backwards for 3 weeks. More phones rang. Arabic, Mandarin, Korean. Each time, Zara switched languages like changing radio stations. Her accent adjusted. Her tone matched cultural expectations. Her vocabulary remained precise and professional. The Tokyo executives were still on screen, watching in amazement. One of them spoke directly to Zara in Japanese. Tanaka-san says, Zara translated, a slight smile playing on her lips. He speaks better business Japanese than their last 3 American consultants combined. He wants to know where I studied. Sterling stood frozen, his expensive suit now wrinkled with nervous sweat. Every call Zara handled revealed another translation disaster his company had been walking into blindly. The Arabic contract, Zara said, hanging up another call, violates religious business principles. They were about to withdraw their $30 million investment tomorrow. Dr. Morrison was frantically taking notes. How many languages do you speak? Fluently, 12. Zara's voice remained calm despite the chaos around her. Conversationally, maybe 20. The boardroom had transformed into a crisis management center. Executives clustered around Zara like she was the eye of a storm, bringing order to communication disasters they hadn't even known existed. Sterling's latest call ended badly. He stared at his phone in horror. What happened? Dr. Morrison asked. The Seoul partnership, Sterling whispered. They just canceled, said our translator insulted their CEO's family honor yesterday. Zara winced. Korean honorifics are complex. One wrong level of formality can end relationships. She had been sitting in this corner for months doing homework while chaos erupted around international calls, watching deals collapse due to preventable misunderstandings. Always silent, always ignored, always knowing she could help. The Tokyo executives were still on screen, chattering excitedly in Japanese. Tanaka-san addressed Zara directly with what sounded like an important question. He's asking, Zara said quietly, if I'm available for full-time consulting work. Sterling's phone clattered to the mahogany table. Every eye in the room turned to the 13-year-old girl who had just solved more problems in 30 minutes than their translation department had managed in months. But this was only the beginning. Dr. Morrison's voice cut through the chaos. Zara, where did you learn all this? The room fell silent. Phone stopped ringing for a moment. Even the Tokyo executives on screen leaned closer to hear. Zara's confident posture softened slightly. Her fingers traced the edge of her worn Japanese textbook. My dad died when I was 8, she said quietly. Car accident on his way home from his second job. Mom started working double shifts to keep our apartment. She picked up a faded manga volume from her backpack. Pages were taped together, covers worn smooth from countless readings. The library became my babysitter. Free internet, warm building, quiet place to do homework. Zara's voice carried a weight far beyond her 13 years. I found these Japanese comics in the foreign language section. Nobody ever checked them out. Sterling shifted uncomfortably, but everyone else hung on her words. At first, I just liked the pictures, but then I got curious about the words. Started matching English subtitles to Japanese characters on anime websites. Her smile was small but genuine. One language led to another. Korean dramas, German documentaries, Arabic news channels. Dr. Morrison leaned forward. But business terminology, legal language? Zara gestured toward the conference room's glass walls. I've been sitting here doing homework for 2 years while Mom cleans offices, listening to international calls, watching deals fall apart because nobody understood each other. Her voice grew stronger. I kept thinking I could fix that. But who listens to the cleaning lady's kid? She pulled out a smartphone with a cracked screen. Free translation apps got me started, but they missed cultural context. So I found language exchange partners online, business students in Tokyo who needed English practice, German engineers who wanted to improve their technical communication. You taught yourself business Japanese by talking to college students? Dr. Morrison asked in amazement. Every night after homework, Mom thought I was just playing games. Zara's eyes sparkled with quiet pride. But I was building something, a bridge to a world bigger than this corner. The Tokyo executives were still listening, understanding enough English to follow her story. Tanaka-san spoke softly in Japanese. He says, Zara, translated, that dedication like that deserves recognition in any language. Sterling stared at his $5,000 watch, realizing he'd just tried to humiliate someone whose work ethic put his own privileged education to shame. The question wasn't where Zara learned Japanese. It was what else she could achieve when someone finally believed in her. Dr. Morrison's phone exploded with an urgent ringtone. The caller ID, flash Seoul emergency. Not now, she muttered. But the phone kept ringing. This is our biggest Korean partnership. I have to take this. She answered with her limited Korean vocabulary. Annyeong, Dr. Morrison. Rapid, panicked Korean poured through the speaker. Dr. Morrison's face went pale. Slow down, please. English. But the Korean voice grew more agitated, switching between Korean and broken English that made little sense. What's happening? Sterling demanded. I think there's been an accident at our Seoul facility, or a shutdown, or Dr. Morrison looked helpless. Our usual translator is in surgery. The backup translator quit yesterday after that honorifics incident you caused. The Korean voice was shouting now. Other voices joined in the background. The crisis was escalating by the second. Zara stood up quietly. May I? Dr. Morrison hesitated for just a moment, then handed over the phone. Zara began, her voice immediately calming. The change was instant. The panicked Korean voice slowed down, relief evident even to non-Korean speakers. Zara listened intently, asking clarifying questions in Korean. Her face grew serious as she absorbed the information. Dr. Morrison, there's been a chemical leak in Building C. 3 workers hospitalized. The emergency protocols in English don't match the Japanese safety manual. What do you mean? The Japanese manual requires evacuating a 500-meter radius for this specific chemical. The English version says 200 meters. Workers in Building D are still inside the danger zone. Dr. Morrison's blood went cold. How many workers? Zara spoke rapidly in Japanese, getting real-time updates. 47 people. The plant manager is afraid to evacuate without headquarters approval, but he's also afraid to leave them in danger. For the next hour, Zara became the lifeline between Osaka and Chicago. She translated medical terminology for paramedics, coordinated with Japanese emergency responders, and helped navigate complex safety protocols. But more than translation, she provided cultural bridgework. When the Japanese plant manager hesitated to criticize American safety procedures, Zara found respectful ways to communicate the urgency without causing loss of face. He's saying the American manual might have errors. Zara translated diplomatically. But he means the manual is wrong, and people will die if we don't fix it immediately. She handled technical chemical compound names, medical symptoms, legal liability discussions with Japanese authorities. Her vocabulary included terms most college chemistry majors wouldn't know. How do you know all this? Dr. Morrison asked during a brief pause. I've been reading the facility manuals while doing homework here for 2 years, Zara admitted. Mom cleans the technical documentation office. I got curious about the different language versions. The crisis peaked when Japanese emergency services needed detailed building layouts to plan their response. Zara had studied those documents, too, translating complex architectural terminology while coordinating with firefighters who spoke no English. By 8 a.m., the situation was under control. All workers evacuated safely. The chemical leak contained, potential disaster averted. The Osaka plant manager called personally to thank headquarters. Through Zara's translation, he delivered a message that made Dr. Morrison's eyes water. He says, Zara explained, that in 30 years of industrial work, he's never experienced such clear, precise communication during a crisis. He wants to know if our translator would consider consulting for their safety training programs. Dr. Morrison looked at the 13-year-old girl who had just saved dozens of lives before most people finished their morning coffee. Zara, she said quietly, how do you feel about that consulting position being permanent? Dr. Morrison spent her weekend diving deep into company records. What she discovered: